Ahmad. It's in. It's brilliant. It's Manchester United.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Durbanites FPL. This is the Game Week 16 review, Game Week 17 preview, and let's start as always with the table. 86 points now, the lead at the top. It's all happening, but in second, third and fourth, very close games, but the champ having a tough time this week and slipping a little bit behind now, under pressure from Mubin. Elsewhere down the table as well, very close fights right down to the bottom of the table, so things can happen at any time. Now, looking at the player selections for this week, still strong. Cole Palmer now with all but one of the managers who's holding out. They know best, and Mo Salah now in with 10 out of 12 managers. Matthias Cunha still holding strong, although I don't know how that will fare next week. Looking at the differentiators, Alexander Isak, Amad Diallo and Lewis Hall doing well. Isak owned by 2 out of 10 managers, Amad Diallo by a quarter, and Lewis Hall almost by half the managers, but not all of them played him, unfortunately. Now let's look at the hits and misses for the week. So defense was at the top. Fatih scoring 30 plus points for that defense on the back end of having Gabriel there, also having Hall around, and then looking at the Stonewalls again, Hall contributing to a lot of managers, doing really well and good defensive performances from a lot of the teams. So looking at the misses, definitely hot bench for myself and Azra here. 20 plus points sitting on the bench. This is very harsh indeed. But then also the champ losing out on 15 valuable points in his title defense by benching Lewis Hall, which is quite unlucky. Now, looking at the best possible selection from our squads, Pickford gets the number 1 jersey with 8 points there. There at the back, you can see Bern, Guardiola, all getting the captain's armband. 30 points for him this week with the captain's armband, and Gabriel on 9. Then in the midfield, Enzo doing really well for Chelsea, Mbeumo as well, but Ahmad the star in that Derby Day win. Then you've got Nicholas Jackson, Cunha and Isak up front. What a strong front line. No place on this selection for the first time in forever for Mo Salah or Cole Palmer. Now Raya gets the backup keeper, and then you've got De Bruyne, Robinson and Gordon, all 4 scoring 6 points, which means that we had 120 on the field and 24 additional on the bench. Total cost of 95, some very affordable squads coming up this season indeed. Now, looking at the fixture rating going ahead, this is going to be tricky. We have 3 game weeks that are closing in 9 days starting on tomorrow, and very tight fixtures. So we kind of focused in on the 4 teams that will give you the best bang for your buck, being Arsenal, Brighton, Chelsea and Fulham. There are definitely other teams and definitely other players that can pop up along the way, but just giving you a suggestion of what that will look like. On the tough side, though, you can see Aston Villa, Crystal Palace, Everton, Bournemouth, Brentford, Ipswich and Notts Forest. Very tough games in the next 3 weeks. Very few greens between game 17, 18 and 19. So advising you to give it a miss. Again, points will come, goals have been scored, but whether those will be the points that you need in order to move up the table, that remains to be seen. With that in mind, let's have a look at the lineup. So on the back line, Pope is out, so Nick Pope getting an injury there for Newcastle, and chances are he will not be playing this week. And Vicario is still out for Spurs, and that almost cost them in the Carabao Cup as the backup keeper had such a bad game. But looking at the defenses, Botman is still out for Newcastle, Mazraoui is now doubtful for Manchester United, Kukureyev suspended for Chelsea, as is Ryan Aït-Nouri, although again Wolves defense with the teams they have coming up, I would suggest to lose them anyway. Since Pope is out, Dubravka has a good chance to be in the goal for Newcastle, so a chance for them to do well against Ipswich this week. And then you've got Leno in there for Fulham, who have good games coming up. Chelsea has a great run coming up, so Robert Sanchez in there. And then looking at David Raya for Arsenal. Going with Arsenal, Gabriel and Saliba, as well as Jerry and Timber up the back. Looking at a lot of options there, not only for clean sheets, but also for goal scoring ability. Looking at Trent as well, Liverpool don't have the easiest games, but he is indeed a force to be reckoned with. Then Purvis Stupinan, again, not having the greatest season. If you look at averages, he has been injured for a lot of it though, and Brighton do need to keep pressing. For now, I would still recommend him because of his attacking threat, not so much for his defensive abilities. And then if you're looking for a solid defender at the back, Anthony Robinson is doing really well for Fulham. They've gone through a tough period of games, come out on the other end, not looking too shabby, and now they have a good few fixtures in the next 6 weeks coming up. And he's been doing really well. 2 assists last week, so just think about him. Looking at the midfield, only a few injuries, so Manchester City still struggling with Bob out and Rodri, of course, out for the season. Dwight McNeil has got he's doubtful for Everton, but about 75% chance of playing, as does Solly March for Brighton, so I think they'll be looking forward to welcoming him back. But with Chelsea's run of games, you're looking at Cole Palmer for sure, you're looking at Pedro Neto coming back after his suspension, and although I don't mention him here, for those that are brave enough to put in Noni Madueke, he does tend to score goals and he's got a good run coming up. Then you've got Salah in from Liverpool, again not mentioning Jota because Liverpool do have tough games coming up, and Salah is just the out and out pick for the season. Arsenal with the good teams coming up. Saka has not been firing on all cylinders this season, at least not in getting points. But if you're watching his games and his performances, he has some of the highest expected goal ratings in the league this season, so maybe one that you want to look at. And then Trossard as well, who's been trusted by Arteta to get some crucial points and crucial goals. With Brighton, you're looking at Kaoru Mitoma and Jakub Minte, both of them doing really well this season. Not flying, but good points maybe on offer for a good price to midfielder. Anthony Gordon for Newcastle, who's been on some good form recently. And then with Fulham's run of games, maybe a chance for Emile Smith-Rowe to get back into managers' lineups, as well as Alex Iwobi. Now, looking at the forwards as well, a couple of injuries and doubtfuls here. So, Liam Delap is suspended, Richarlison and Callum Wilson probably out for longer spells in the season. And Ollie Watkins is still on the doubtful list, should be okay for Aston Villa, but just be mindful. And also not the easiest game this week against Manchester City. And then you've got Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck's one is super interesting because he is doubtful, and it is well known that João Pedro himself doesn't perform quite well if he's isolated without Danny Welbeck. So whether Danny Welbeck plays might very well influence the amount of points that you could get from João Pedro. Now, looking at the picks though, we've got Cunha and Strand Larsen. You'll notice the little asterisk there. The reason I do that, guys, is this is probably the last chance, Leicester, where they can get some really big points in there. Wolves have a run of 9 very, very difficult games after this. Points might be there. Cunha is as talented striker, so is Strand Larsen, but that run of green that they've had is about to come to an end. Kai Havertz or Gabby Jesus for Arsenal. Jesus scoring 3 times in midweek. So he's looking at as a good return to form. Chances are Arteta will play him, so if you're looking for that striker who's maybe cheaper and probably has a chance to score this week, take a chance on Gabby Jesus. Alexander Isak is doing really well now, currently one of the top strikers on form, so putting him in there for this trip to Ipswich this week. And then you've got Danny Welbeck and João Pedro from Brighton, who had a great start to the season, are still scoring goals, but again, just want to make that call out that Welbeck might not play, and that might impact João Pedro's effectiveness. And of course, up front there, Nicholas Jackson. So Chelsea have a great run coming up. Jackson's been their preferred forward, and he has been doing well. So that's what we have for this week. You're going to get a lot of videos coming up, so please don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to turn on notifications, because you don't want to miss anything in the next 9 days. These 3 game weeks could make or break your season for you. But that's all we have for now. Until the next video, so long.